poisoning, and dental infections. Remember, if the blood-brain barrier has been damaged, it's not functioning fully, they're going to suck in toxic metals like nobody's business. Metals are on all our food. That's what goes on the sprays. All of the sprays, I already talked to you about how wheat is full of mercury because we spray our wheat. All the seeds come soaked in mercury. And your grass seed, by the way, comes soaked in mercury. If you're spreading grass seed, it'll have a red tint on it. That's all mercury laden. And so we're getting mercury all through the food chain. And all the grains are soaked with mercury and these metals. So heavy metal poisoning, why do they get so much heavy metal? And you'll see this, particularly in the autistic community, but those that have brain injury know they need metal detox. And that's because it's like a sieve. There's no filtering there to keep it out of the brain. And then dental infections. A lot of times people have dental infections, abscess or cavitations, and they don't realize that becomes what we call a foci. And that foci is pulling energy from organs in the body. Almost every breast cancer, almost every prostate cancer has a foci in the dental. And they don't ever look there. It's the other organs. And so those have to be taken care of. The pineal gland, this is a pretty exciting thing. How many of you want more connection with your Maker? How many of you are interested in being more spiritual? Most people are. Most people want a connection with the God that made them. The pineal gland is what God gave us. It's a hollow organ composed mostly of water. This is an amazing thing that most people don't even know. It's known as the organ that anchors the soul to the body. It's the size of a pea, and it's shaped like a pine cone, and this is what it is. It's in the brain, but not part of the brain. Isn't that interesting? It's only the part of the brain that's not separated from the body by the blood-brain barrier. It has proteins in it that are associated with phototransduction, the process by which light is converted to electrical signals, and that light is sensing. So in order for us to have spiritual light, what has to happen to the pineal? It's composed of water, and it's composed of that light sensing transduction. We have to be able to open that up. So how do we do that? Well, what's happening today is that our pineal glands are calcifying. And how are they calcifying? And this is a picture of a calcified pineal gland. Internally calcifies by the fluoride. Most people don't even think. They walk to the grocery store, pick the toothpaste, and say, this is what I need, and take it, and it's got fluoride in it. And they drink water that has fluoride, or they wash their vegetables with fluoride water. And it calcifies the pineal, and the chemicals found in your water systems, your toothpaste, or if you get fluoride treatments at the dentist. Hormones and additives put into the processed food and sugars, especially the artificial sugars, dumped into soft drinks and foods will calcify the pineal. The pineal absorbs more fluoride than any other part of the body. Guess what, folks? Many of the psychotropic brain drugs have fluoride in them. What are we doing? No wonder these people can't figure out what their life is about. We have hardened their pineals. Cell phones, computers, again, look at how important this is. I hope you leave this weekend understanding that every time you put that cell phone to you or on you or near you, you're getting radiated with EMF frequencies that now, you know another aspect of it, it's lowering your voltage, but now it's calcifying your pineal. So you've got to put some diodes on there and protect it from that radiation and on your computers. This is kind of a visual of how it projects light in and out of us. And what does the scripture say? That God is light? Isn't it interesting that he created an organ for his light to get into us and to speak to us? Wow, amazing. The pineal and voltage. It is very important to activate the pineal and raise its vibrations because it's our connection to him. We have more focus. We have vivid dreams. We have lucid dreams. We have easier to connect with God and God consciousness. Better sleep, enhanced imagination. It clears the channels and ability to feel energy. If you're kind of feeling uncreative, Kind of not feeling like you're hearing from God or don't know which direction to go in your life? Probably your pineal's a little bit calcified. It's the seat of the soul. Here's this isn't a purely scientific experiment that we did, but we were having fun one day with a bunch of us who do research together. So we experimented, and we do what we do to test the acupressure points of organs of the brain. And we tested the pineal point and pulsed it out of what percent they were, and most of us didn't have a pineal above 40% functioning. So we all drank 12 ounces of 11.5 water. Guess what happened? The pineal energy immediately went to 100%. It stayed there for 4 days or more. It was pretty amazing to have that happen. And then if you're really intuitive and you're really sensing, you can really say, wow, I'm really getting downloads. I love to go to bed and ask God to give me downloads. It's very exciting, and I'll use oils and water to do that. So we continued to energize our pineals and putting on an essential oil that opens up and decalcifies it, called blue spruce, Idaho blue spruce, and the 11.5 water. And that is a pretty awesome technique. So you can play with that and see what you get. Now, healing vibrations of the electrolyzed reduced water in health. We're going to take you now to some research and show you what does the research say about using this water in health. Allergies are an irritation or an inflammation reaction appearing as a symptom because they're dealing with acid toxins. They're acid related. Hydrogen ion water, ionized water with the negative, has an anti-allergic effect. Yeast and fungus, whose poisons are acid, contribute significantly to your hay fever and your sneezing. When I was in high school, I had such bad allergies that I went to an allergist. Of course, that's what you do. And, got all those pokes and things, and then ended up on shots that I gave myself when I went on to college. By the time I was done with college, I was so sick that I couldn't function. God blessed me, I got married, and I collapsed. And now you can take care of me. He didn't really know what to do, so I laid in bed like Dr. Tennant and read books and learned and changed my diet and changed my life. And I was so blessed to have a husband that said, honey, if it's right and if it's what God has us do, we're going to do it together. And I encourage you to do that with your mate. If they are given something that's right and good, go with them, because the journey has been phenomenal in what God will show you when you're united with it. So anyway, I didn't drink water. I didn't even drink bottled water. I didn't drink tap water. If I got water, it was by default. I didn't drink sodas. I didn't drink coffee. I didn't drink tea. I don't know how I survived. No wonder I became very, 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 very ill. And that whole process is why I learned what I learned today, because I had to figure out how to get well. Vibrations of electrolyzed water in arthritis. It's caused by accumulation of acid in the body. It's accumulated damages in the cartilage and in the coats the cells and produce the synovial and the bursa fluids, causing a dryness. And that irritates the joints and causes the swelling. That's why, with the detoxification coupled with the alkaline water, so many people say, I don't have the pain anymore. My mother had kind of curled fingers. Her fingers are straightening out. It's quite amazing. Alkaline, ionized, microclustered water neutralizes that acid. The body's 70% water. So look, you've just changed the terrain and the large, large impact that you can make on your joint health. Once the pH levels swing toward the alkalinity, that arthritis cannot survive. Here's a really cool one. The research tells us that the consumption of H2 hydrogen, the negative ion, dissolved water, has the potential to prevent arteriosclerosis. Remember, this is research. I didn't say it. This is what they have found. Remember what the number one disease killer is today? Arteriosclerosis, heart disease. Wow. Here we have the answer. Vibrations of the electrolyzed water and asthma. Providing asthmatics with the adequate amount of alkaline ionized water on a constant base will reduce and eliminate symptoms because the lungs remain hydrated. The smaller water particle sizes are faster and they're more efficient so that the water arrives in the lungs when it's needed. And the best water is the alkaline ionized. And research says the alkaline ionized water could be the best asthma preventative. And I've had people come up to me and say, you know, their child was having asthma and they gave them the water and the asthma stopped. And if you stay hydrated, you will have major help with that. One thing I want to tell you about the asthma that we discovered in the brain camp, because we have people coming there with inhalers, is that they had a mercury resonance in them. I think they use it as a preservative. So every time you're inhaling, you're putting mercury in the brain. Vibrations of the electrolyzed reduced water and cancer. People always ask, oh, what does this water do for cancer? Remember, it's only a tool to help your body do what the body needs to do. But in the research, they have found that cancer cells are generally exposed to high oxidative stress. What does that do? Reduce their voltage. Remember, they go down to 50 plus millivolts. The electrolyzed reduced water can reduce tumor growth rate. It suppresses the growth of cancer cells. When they transplanted this into mice, the electrolyzed reduced water, demonstrating their anti-cancer effects in vivo. The reduced water will be applicable not only to the medicine industry, but to the food industry. Now, more about the vibration of this water and cancer. Here's what the research says. Alkaline water reduced and showed significant anti-cancer effects. Alkaline water, reduced water also shows the inhibition of the metastasis. I can't tell you how many times when I go around the country and speak, somebody comes up to me and says, I had kidney cancer, I had prostate cancer, I had breast cancer, I had ovarian cancer, and I was at stage 4, and I drank, this water saved my life. I was ready to go. I was making plans to go. And I'm going, now come on, that really can't be. And I'm hearing it again and again and again and again. And I'm seeing these people, and I'm going, it really is true. The research is really true. And here is some pictures that you can get of the anti-cancer effects. Here's tap water, and you see the little brown dots all over the cells, and then you see the cells that have the alkaline reduced water is what they're calling it here, and you have less of those little brown spots which indicate the cancer. Then you see the weight of a rat's tumor. And with the water, tap water, the tumor is 4.8 grams. And with the alkaline reduced water, you have the tumor growing to the size of 2.3 grams, so it reduces it. Just exactly what I told you the research says, it reduces the tumor. And then here are some of the charts showing the effects of cancer cell reduction by drinking the water. The vibration of this water in the colon. In 1965, the Ministry of Welfare in Japan announced that the reduced water obtained by this method of electrolysis can prevent abnormal fermentation in the intestinal microbes. Dr. Hidemitsu Hashi said, you will have clean feces if you drink alkaline water. Now, I don't know about you, but in my world, we learned that death begins in the colon. So these putrefactive bacteria have a pretty powerful effect on our health because they can go back through the bloodstream and into the body. Electrolysis has been the function of detoxifying and neutralizing these toxic substances such as the hydrogen sulfide and the ammonias contained in the feces. The toxic substance will start to decrease as you start drinking the water. This is a really fun one because we have such a high level of diabetes, and there is a lot of research on this kind of water, the electrolyzed reduced water and diabetes. It showed in the research to reduce their blood glucose concentration and to increase their blood insulin levels, improve their glucose tolerance, and decrease their bad cholesterol, their LDL. And it proved the electrolyzed reduced water may protect the beta cell damage that would be useful as an anti-diabetic agent. Whew. Wow. In our healing house, we recently had a couple come, and they both had diabetes, and they said they were checking their levels, and they were at 240 pretty much every day. We put them on the high hydrogen water, electrolyzed water, and we gave them an essential oil called acatea, which balances blood sugar. In 1 week or less, their blood sugars were 140. I've never seen that fast. I was able to monitor them. They were telling me what their scores were every day. We were making sure they were getting the water, and we were watching that come into balance. They were thrilled. Ionized water in type 2 diabetics, supplementation of this is what the research says, hydrogen-rich water improves the lipid glucose metabolism in patients with type 2 diabetes or impaired glucose tolerance. The results suggest that if you supplement with this hydrogen-rich water, you may have the potential, what did they say? A potential role in prevention of the type 2 diabetes mellitus and insulin resistant. That's pretty exciting. What about the gastric functions? According to the medical researcher in the Meba University, the pH of the gastric secretions will remain normal when antioxidant water is consumed. That proves the ability of the antioxidant water. It's able to neutralize as well as stimulate the secretion. We have so many gastric problems today. Gastrointestinal disorders are all linked to acidosis. All stomach problems, indigestion, nausea, gas, acid reflux are symptoms caused by the excess acid in the gastric system. That's why antacids are prescribed. You can neutralize that acid through the alkaline water, through the alkaline foods, through alkaline minerals. It will all help alleviate the acid-related intestinal disorders, including ulcers, without taking the destructive prescription drugs. One of the things that I learned when I was so sick was how to combine foods in a way so the normal digestive enzymes would function properly. So I learned that if I ate fruit with meat, I would cause fermentation. And if I ate meat with starch, I would cause putrefaction, and those end up with all these nasty, ugly names in the colon, which then can get into the system and cause more acid and cause more disease. So early on, I wrote a cookbook called Cooking Naturally, which talks about that method of eating. And then I created a picture on a DVD of a whole, here's the foods that are different groups, and here's how to eat them together so that people can understand. And my husband and I have followed this pretty much in our lives. And it helps your energy, it helps your acid levels, it helps push everything to another level. Vibrations of the stomach and the stomach acid. The important role of antioxidant water in the stomach is to neutralize the secretion and strengthen its functions. After consuming the antioxidant water for 1 to 3 minutes, the gastric juices increase. For those suffering from too much, low in hydrochloric acid, the presence of antioxidant water will stimulate more, and the stomach cells will secrete enough gastric juice. The electrolyzed reduced water enhances the digestion and your absorption. Remember that chart? The absorption of your minerals. Those with hyperchloremia are high in the gastric juice. The antioxidant water will neutralize. So we have a balancer. When nature does its job and it's done properly, it always balances. And this is why I have not seen, when you take the high alkaline water, that you ever get imbalanced in your pH. Your body pH will do what it's supposed to do, and it doesn't go overboard in getting too alkaline. Vibrations of the water with the eye issues. It's linked to acidosis. When you start getting cataracts, when your vision starts declining, these are acid issues. We generally don't consider our vision changes to be a condition of acid. But it's losing oxygen, macular degeneration. And the end result is that the tissues get stiff, hard, and inflexible. And the calcium deposits collecting in the optic nerve on the ganglia are called the cataracts. And you have loss of vision in the macro degeneration. It's just dehydration and acid buildup. Vibrations of the water and gout. Gout is caused by an acid condition. It's a form of an arthritic with the excess uric acid. Uric acid are salt deposits that they deposit in the surrounding tissues of the toes, the feet, and the hands, causing swelling and severe pain. How many of you have known people that have had this? And they'll limp around, take the drugs, and they're still limping. Doesn't really solve it. I had a friend whose husband had this, and she worked with me for quite a while, so she knew all the ins and outs. And they did not have an ionizer in their house. And he started drinking that water in a week. His gout was gone. Guess what they bought? Was no brainer. I am building too much acid, and I don't like the pain. Another thing that we're not aware of is our lymph system. Unless we move, unless we exercise, unless we have something that is moving that electrical flow, the lymph doesn't move. This is why massage is great. This is why anything to do to move is great. Another technique is you can move your foot up and down at your ankle, and that's a lymphatic pump. So if you are in bed, somebody can do it for you and move those, and it gets the pump going. But here's another fun thing. They are composed of water. The lymph is composed of water and immune substances. Water, click, click, click. So without adequate water, it can't flow properly, and the lymph vessels are always twice the amount of the circulation, so you have one on each side of the circulation vessels. But important for the immune system, you've got to have the water. It detoxifies the acidic waste, infection, and proteins and toxins and debris from the body, and it returns the fluid from the body tissues to the blood. As the lymph becomes too acidic, fungi and bacteria spontaneously develop and grow. And thus they clog at the nodes. We know of swollen nodes and sore throats and things. But if this lymphatic system is supplied with oxygen and alkaline pH, you're going to have some changes, because the average pH of the lymph in an adult is 6.2. Is that alkaline? It's acid. Which means you have a 94% decrease in the amount of oxygen available in the lymph. Imagine living with only 6% oxygen. Just kind of cover your face and try to breathe like that for a while. It's pretty hard. The lymph needs the rich oxygen, and it needs the alkaline fluid. And the water has to be electrical. There's your secret. Because this water is electrical, it will energize and move the fluid through the vessels. That is so important for our health, because God intended that there had to be movement to get that waste to move out. That's why the alkaline water with its small molecular structure is so detoxifying, because it can get into the lymph and it can move the lymph. Vibrations of water and morning sickness, it's acid related. When a woman gets pregnant, the fetus, the developing fetus, takes priority in getting all the necessary alkaline minerals. The baby has to be born in the highest amount of alkalinity. This means that while the mother is sleeping, she's going to be losing alkaline minerals, causing the blood acidity. And that phenomena is known as morning sickness. By using the alkaline diet and drinking alkaline beverages, particularly the alkaline water, the morning sickness can disappear. Now, vibrations of pregnancy and water. What's going on here? They actually gave pregnant women the water, and these women who took it during their pregnancy experienced almost no vomiting, a smooth delivery, only slight jaundice in the baby, enough lactation, and smooth and satisfactory growth of the newborn. That's exciting. We want to start with our generations that are coming up and give them this power. And a lot of times, new moms, particularly today, our young people have been raised on junk food. And so they are acid, 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 and there are more DNA damage. How's the DNA damage get there in our younger moms? Plus 50 millivolts. They are so acid, and they don't have the voltage. So the DNA is becoming damaged, and we're having more birth defects and more problems that are like, where did that come from? Now you know. It's coming from the voltage. It's coming from the lack of oxygen. So it's very important to get to our young mothers and to teach our grandchildren and our children about how this works in their bodies. Vibrations of obesity and water. Clogged fat prevents the cell from doing its metabolism at the proper rate. Much of the obesity epidemic in the U.S. is attributed to the acidity. We're all eating acid foods. When the blood pH drops toward the more acidic side, even by a tiny amount, like 7.29, There are critical enzymes, remember the enzymes need the water too, that are involved in those digestive processes that no longer work at optimum levels. And when this happens, you have acidic byproducts from the digestion that are released into the system. Some of the acidic byproducts are excreted, but most of them are stored and called fat, excess storage. We are all carrying around storage units. And we're paying for them too. We need to eat 70 to 80% alkaline foods in diet. I've given you some ideas on that. 20 to 30% acidic foods. And that really takes some discipline. It takes a shift in your direction. It takes I'm done with this. I want more energy. I want more out of life. And what does that take? I have a goal. I have a purpose. What does that take? An open pineal gland. You got to know what your purpose is. See how it all works together? Isn't that neat? Isn't that amazing? Hydrating from alkaline water is critical part of losing weight. And alkaline water has a higher pH than